Hello there, great people. How are you? Happy Higher Self Wednesday. I am so happy to see you. I hope that things are going well with you, and if they're not, I'm glad you're here because by the time we finish going through what we're going to go through today, you're going to feel better because that's what this is about. Our Higher Self Wednesday is to definitely shift in the middle of our day anything that is going on that maybe we're concerned with or we feel that we're losing it. So welcome aboard. I'm so glad to see you. My name is Karen White, and I am the author of this book, Changing the Game Plan, which is a workbook of my journey of how I worked the program with 4 sponsors. It is a workbook. It's meant to work with someone, a sponsor, a clergyman, your therapist, but someone. It is wonderful. I use 4 books. I use the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I use the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon 12 and 12, and the ODAT. Those are the only 4 books that I use, and I still, after all these years in the program, I'm still only using those 4 books because that's what I was taught. That's how I changed my life, and I just keep focusing on them. And I tell you, after all these years being in these rooms, I still learn, and I get so excited about these Higher Self Wednesdays because it gives me the opportunity to study, to prepare to come to you and share my experience, strength, and hope. This book is my experience, strength, and hope. Take what you like and leave the rest. It is my journey, and I'm just sharing it with you of how I did it. It has helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of women. I've been around these rooms for a long time to change their life and bring their life back into the sanity that we are all so hoping for and seeking, and taking us out of that part of our life where we're just so fearful and so confused and don't want to die like we're at. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for supporting the book, all of you guys, and all the great comments that you're putting about your journey of working the steps on Amazon and different things and reaching out to me. Yes, I am available to speak at meetings and conferences and all that, and I do that. And yes, if I have the time and I'm available, I will. You can reach me on programchild.net. There's a comment section. That is the only way you can reach me. You cannot reach me on Messenger. So go to programchild.net, use the comment, and anything that you have to say to me, say it to me, and I will get back to you within 24 to 72 hours, okay? So now let's jump in. I am so excited. I'm on step 3, and how I work the steps is 1, 2, 3 together, 4 and 5 together, 6 and 7 together, 8 and 9 together, and 10, 11, and 12 together. So we are on step 3. So can you imagine you're working the steps? You've worked 1 and 2 already, and now you've been working all the steps within this 2 to 3 hour period, and now we get to step 3. And I tell you, it is wonderful. Step 3 is the month of March. I've got 5 Wednesdays, you guys, to teach this. And you know, I'm only going to be able to take a third of this. But, you know, I'm going to really try to do my best to get as much in. But get your books out. Go through this literature with me, you know, and use what we have in this program. This program is so rich in knowledge for us. It is so rich. It gives us so much knowledge of how to do this and how to work these steps and how to work this program. So use everything that you have to get well. So let's start. One of the things that I love to do, and I always do, is with anybody that I sponsor or anybody that I'm working the steps with, I do believe that you need to look up every single word in the step, because there is a reason that Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson and all the people chose these specific words, because these words are taking us somewhere. They're leading us. And when you really have an understanding, and it's so important, anybody that has any kind of ism, whether you're in the addictive room or the non-room, whatever room you're in, you have a misunderstanding of what things mean. And that's why we're always getting offended. And that's why we're always saying the wrong things, because we don't know. And we don't know how to put a lot of things together, but they did. And when you look at the definition, let's talk step 3. Step 3 says, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. The word made means produce or manufacture by constructing, shaping, or forming. It just starts off made. And can you imagine? It's going to manufacture something in us by shaping us and forming us. That word starts off with that much power. That's why they use the word made. A is used before a mass noun to indicate a single type of an example. So isn't that interesting? Made an example. A decision, the act of making up one's mind. The act of making up one's mind. Firmness or purpose of character. Determination. 2, in one direction toward a person or a thing. We're making a decision, making up our mind to turn into a direction in our lives. That's change, people. That's change. Turn, to change positions from side to side or back and forth. The direction, one way, or course. Powerful. Ours, of, belonging to, or associated in some way with. Belonging to or associated with all people or people in general. Oh, wow. Will, the mental facility by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course or an action. The acts of exercising of the will. And along with, in addition to. Ours, of, belonging to, or associated in some way with us. Ours. And you know what I always say? We're never alone in these steps. There's going to be always that powerful word, ours, us, them, something to let us know that these steps, we're not working them alone. Life means bring to life, to restore to consciousness, to make animated. Over, above, and across from one end or side to the other. 2, in direction toward a person or thing. The, because of that. The, because of that. Wow. Care, to be concerned or interested. Of, caused by, resulting from. God, your relationship that you have with your God. As, for instance, when taken into consideration in a specific form or relation. For instance, that's what as means. For instance, we, again, refer to all people or people in general. Understand, agreed upon by all parties. Him, her, or his imperial majesty. Oh, I love looking up these words. They are so powerful. And sometimes I could just go with the definitions and just teach just right here and see how these words are just moving us to the promises that are in every single step. So let's jump in. First of all, I'm going to share a little bit about this. I always say that the third step is, I always say it's like a cake. It's like all these ingredients you make a decision, and all these are different ingredients. Think of made being pineapples, decision being flour or sugar, and all these are the ingredients that get you to the end of this, which is the most powerful thing, and it's the mixer of this third step, and that's as we understood him. And that is so important, because by time I got to step 3 to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. First of all, you know what I did? I worked steps 1 and 2. So now I'm powerless. I've understood that, and I love powerless by this time because it took the responsibility off of me. And I came to believe that there was something great because I, I went through step 1 and I found the powerlessness. It made me understand that there was something greater than me that could help me restore me back to sanity, which that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to be restored to sanity because I didn't want to die in the situation that I was in my mind, in my head, or whatever situation that you're in. My whole everything about me was so wrong. How I lived, where I lived, everything. I mean, when it's wrong, it's wrong. And so this is so powerful because now I get a chance to start making decisions to turn my will and things over to the care. And I love the way they put the word care there because the word care, means to be concerned or interested. That means that God is concerned and interested in us. And at this point in the steps, as I went through 1, 2, and got to 3, I understood that concern. And so now I learned to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of this God of my understanding, because God is your understanding and your relationship, and never go anywhere else but that, because as you seek God, he will seek you and you will learn him. And one of the things that me and God had going for us at that time, because I was so destroyed by God, but the steps was giving me a very understanding of a whole nother different God of my understanding. This was not the religious God that I had grew up with. This was a totally different God that I got in this program by working the steps. So now it's the God of my understanding. And I had to start with me, and he allowed me, as I was seeking him, to know him better, to understand him through me. The things that I liked, he liked. The things that I liked doing, he liked doing. And that's how I started building this understanding of God, which is my understanding of God. And it goes further than that because it's been years and years of practicing, and now our relationship is just so powerful. It's just unbelievable, how I rely on God of my understanding today. But the most important thing in this step is as we understand him. Remember, in this program, you will never, ever change unless you understand. And that's why Bill and Dr. Bob and everybody that wrote these steps it was so important that they put these words together because they knew who we were. They knew what kind of people we were, and they wanted us to understand, what was going on. What was going on with our addiction, what was going on with our non-sight, because they knew that if they could not get us to understand it, we would never make the change. And so this step is so powerful because it allows us to the rest of our life, change our life as we understand God, as we understand the situation, as we understand. And so it's very important. I always tell people that you can never get anyone to change unless you make them understand. And that has also humbled me, and that has also made me very gentle when it comes to helping people now, because I know that I have to understand things to change. So I give them the same respect back to understand things so that they will be able to make the changes that they need to make in their life as well. Now we're going to jump into the big book, and I'm so excited about jumping into the big book. We're going to start with pages 60 to 63 in the big book. And I'm probably going to be in the big book for the next 2 weeks, and I probably won't even hit a third of step 3, because step 3 is just so powerful just here in these pages that we're going to cover. But let's start and let's see where we get, and get your books out and you go through them yourself, and let your spirit and your higher power give you the understanding that you need, because that's what happens when we go through here. You get the understanding that you need to make the changes. Now on page 60, down on the very last paragraph of page 60, it says, being convinced, we were at step 3, which is that we decided to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Just what do we mean by that? Or just what do we do? And it goes on to tell you. The first requirement is that we be convinced that any life ran on self-will could hardly be a success. Now let me tell you something about this. Pages 60 to 63, when I work these pages in the third step, which you have to get the book and you'll see this, I make every we, us, them, when we're working the steps, you have to put your name there. So this is how it would have read. It would read, the first requirement is that Karen be convinced that any life ran on self-will could hardly be a success. On that basis, Karen are always in collision with something or somebody, even though Karen's motives are good. So I make that very, very personal, because the understanding of this right here that we're getting ready to do changed my life. I mean, it just took me to a whole nother degree. And to learn that about myself, that I was running on self-will, I was so shocked. I was so shocked because I did not know that all these things were going on. I did not see my life like that. I did not see these things. Thank God for the big book in these rooms and all this, because the people have showed me so many things that I thought were so bad. And even though they were bad to me, everybody gave me the understanding about them in such a gentle way that I did not have to judge myself anymore about them, because I met other people that had the same behavior patterns, so it made me feel easier about what I was going through. Plus, at the same time, it was just letting me know that it's okay. That's just what you are. Now you know. Now you can do something about it. And that's what I like about our literature, especially the big book. And I always say, no matter what program you're in, you need the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, because that is where the 12 steps come from. It goes on to say, most people try to live by self-propulsion. Each person is like an actor. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to start putting my name back in here, okay? So Karen is like an actor who wants to run the whole show, who is forever trying to arrange the lights, the ballots, the scenery, and the rest of the players in Karen's way. Wow. If Karen's arrangement would only stay put, if only people would do what Karen wished, the show would be great. Everyone, including Karen, would be pleased. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, Karen, the actor, may sometimes be quite virtuous. I love that part, Karen, the actor, because that's what it is. That's what we're doing. We're trying to act to get through whatever we're trying to get through. Karen may be kind, considerate, patient, and generous, even modest and self-seeking. On the other hand, Karen may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But as with most humans, Karen is most likely to have various traits. And that is what is killing us, when we have those traits. And I was such an actor in my addiction. I mean, such an actor. I mean, whatever I had to do to get my, my addiction off, I would do it. I would act the way that I had to act. I would go in. I would convince the people that I needed to help me to do what I needed them to do to help me do that. And then on the Al-Anon side, for me, it was really crazy because on that side of the whole thing, I was trying to control other people and other people's situation and maneuver and, get them to do things. So I definitely have various traits because I love the part where it says, I can be kind, considerate, patient, and generous. But it also says I can be selfish and dishonest and all that. And it's so interesting because what I know today is all those character defects that I had, the selfishness, the dishonest, and being mean, all the things that I was doing that led to all these character defects that I had to let go, that they were driving me insane. Insane. This stuff was killing me. And, I love the part that it says, it goes on to say, let's just keep going and then I'll explain it because it's going to come later on down the line. It says, what usually happens? The show doesn't come off very well. Karen begins to think life doesn't treat her right. Karen decides to exert herself more and more and more, whatever I have to do. Karen becomes, on the next occasion, still more demanding or gracious. I love that part. As the case may be. Still, the play does not suit Karen, admitting Karen may be somewhat at fault. And I love how I circle somewhat because you know how that is. We're justifying why we are like we are as we're going through all this. We're justifying it because we want to stay there. We want to stay there because we really believe that action is going to help us to either do whatever we do on the addictive side, whether it's drinking or drugging or eating or sex or stealing, whatever we're doing on that side, on the addictive side, we need that. And then on the non-side of it, we somewhat at fault, somewhat, just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's what we're thinking in our head. When most of the time we're totally at fault. And it says, Karen is sure that other people are more to blame. And I was definitely always blaming. Anytime I tried something and it didn't work, you were to blame. It had nothing to do with me. You were to blame. I was right. You were wrong. Blame you. Because you know why I did that? Because I wanted to feel better about myself, and I needed to that blame part to judge you, to make you feel bad, so that I could continue to do what I wanted to do, and that's what this book is teaching us. It goes on to say, Karen becomes angry and indignant, self-pitying. What is Karen's basic trouble? Is it not really that Karen's a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? And I love that. That helped me a lot because I needed to know in my heart of heart that a lot of the things that I was doing, in my heart of heart, I was thinking that I was doing them for the best of other people, for me, whatever, I was doing. I just thought it was the best. I never, in my addiction, I never, really thought of, it being not kind. I was just thinking I was taking care of me. On the other side, my non-side, I was helping you. I was really trying to be kind. But it doesn't work because it says if Karen really is Karen not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? Yes, I was. Is Karen not a victim of the delusion that Karen can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if Karen only managed well. Yes, I always looked at if I was managing things and I was doing things and running things, and no matter where I was and what I was doing, I could manage it, I could handle it, and it would be well. And never did I ever look at the part in my life of all the chaos and the confusion until it just started burning out of hand and I didn't have any choice but to look at myself. And it goes on to say, it is not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things Karen wants. I never thought that for years. I never thought people truly saw me for who I was. I really didn't. I didn't think that people could see that far through me. And the minute I got in these rooms, you guys saw through me quick. You were like, this is who you are. This is what you're doing. This is what you're like. And I was so shocked. I felt like, that I was standing there, even though I had flesh, I felt like that there must have been an x-ray going through me that people, it was just that obvious. And here I am thinking nobody knew what I was doing. And it was just obvious to everybody what I was doing. And it goes on to say, and do not Karen's action make each one wish to retaliate, snatching all they can out of the show? Is Karen not, even in the best moment, a producer of confusion rather than harmony? And that's what was hurting me so bad. Because in my kindness, in my thinking that what I was doing was right, it was causing so much confusion and not harmony. There was no harmony in my addiction. It was so much confusion and chaos over in that side and on my non-side. It was so much confusion and chaos going on all the time. It was making me sick. I didn't know what to do. I kept trying to act. I was, in there trying to manage, trying to control, trying to, handle things the best that I could. If it meant, on the addiction side, taking a drink or eating some food or whatever we do on that side, all of us, and we know that we do a lot of stuff, then we do it. If it's the non-side, if it means, following somebody, getting them, trying to make them feel bad about what they did to us and how they did it to us, and make them change based on, I want to die, I want to kill myself, I want to kill you, just the craziness. It was just, I was always around confusion instead of harmony until I got in these rooms. And, I'm going to stop there because I'm going to pick it up. Well, let me go a little further. It says, our actor is a self-centered, egoistic, as people like to call it nowadays. And I always see Karen is an actor. Karen, the actor, is self-centered, egoistic, as people like to call it nowadays. And it goes on to talk, about the retired businessman, and it just gives you the examples, of how this worked. It's so interesting. What a wonderful program we have. I came in here feeling like I was dying in my thoughts and in my situation and in the mess that I had caused. And you guys took all that with all this great information and all your sharing in the meetings and turned that around and started teaching me how to live an honest, transparent life regardless of what it is. How to start relying on Karen for being the source of Karen's happiness. And that Karen could not make others happy by doing things for them that she could not do, whether it was emotional or financial, anything. I just couldn't do it. That was not what people needed from me, and that's what I did not need from myself. What I needed to be was honest, just honest, not seeking anything, letting go. I didn't know that. I didn't know let go and let God. I didn't know. I didn't think that was okay to let go and let God. I always thought you had to do something. You had to do something. I didn't know take it easy. Easy does it. Nothing like that. You guys in this program taught me that. But in the meantime, you just loved me through it. And as I did it, made my mistakes and whatever, you just took me in and loved me through it. And, it's so beautiful today because I still slip, being in these rooms all these years. If I'm not careful in working this program on a daily basis, and what does that look like? Wakes up in the morning, that's praying, that's reading literature, that's going to meetings, that's talking to my sponsor. These are the things, the repetition that keeps me on the right path, that keeps me in the healthy mind today. Because when I do have that slip or things don't go exactly like I think they should go or whatever, today I can gently restore myself back to sanity and make up for it and correct things. And I'm not afraid to live life anymore. I'm not afraid to live life good or bad anymore. I used to be so afraid of the bad side of life that I was always like trying to protect myself, from doing anything crazy or bad. And that's all I was doing when I was doing all that protection, crazy things and bad things. I mean, yeah, there's, good things that we're doing too, but the stuff that was causing me the chaos and causing the other people that are around me was the chaos and the harmony, was the things that I was doing. And so today it's so neat to have a program that has a step like this that can help me learn how to make decisions today, to turn things over to a higher power, my God, as I understand him. And as I'm turning these things over, it's because I'm understanding how to work them. I'm understanding, from God what to do and how to do it, because you guys are helping me through so many issues, so many things. And the good thing about this room, I get to practice. I get to practice till I get it right. And there's no judgment here. There's no such thing as hurry up. You got to do it. You got to do it right now. I get to practice. And this program will take you a lifetime. You will never do it perfectly. Never. So don't think that you will ever do it perfectly. But you will have things that will get you back on track. You will have things that will help you learn how to live through situations. You will have things that help you start off in the right ways. And I love it, and I love it. Our time is up. I could just go on and on and on. We only covered maybe a page and a half. We have so much to cover. And of course, like I said, get your books out and go through this with me and everything. And thank you so much for joining me on this Higher Self Wednesday. And as I like to close always by saying to you, first of all, get a sponsor, go to meetings, work this program, and get healthy. It is here for you. You have so much. You don't have to feel like you feel. You don't have to keep repeating these things. I don't care if you've done it 450 times. You can stop anything with the 12 steps. It can just close it up for you, and you can start your life all over again. So keep coming back to these Higher Self Wednesdays, and I will keep teaching these steps to you. And blessings over you today, great people.